World War III.
World War III.
World War III.
World War III. What if the Iran-Israel war becomes World War III? It's not a movie, it's not a simulation, it's not a what-if question anymore. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a massive joint military operation against Iran. They called it Operation Epic Fury. Within hours, the supreme leader of Iran was dead. Military bases across Tehran, Isfahan, and Kermanshah were burning. The skies over the Middle East lit up with missiles, drones, and explosions that hadn't been seen since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. And Iran hit back hard. Hundreds of ballistic missiles launched toward Israel, toward US bases in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, the UAE, Jordan, Iraq. Even a British military base in Cyprus got struck by an Iranian drone. In less than 72 hours, a conflict that started between two countries had already touched over a dozen nations and put 300 million civilians under the shadow of war. Right now, as you watch this, it's still happening. Buildings are still falling, people are still dying, and the entire world is asking one terrifying question. What if this doesn't stop? What if this becomes World War III? Let's break down what's already happened and what could come next, because the answer should scare every single person on this planet. First, let's understand how we got here, because this didn't happen overnight. Tensions between Iran and Israel have been building for decades, but the fuse was lit after October 7th, 2023. Israel launched devastating campaigns against Iran's allies, Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Assad regime in Syria. Iran's closest partner fell. One by one, Iran's network of regional allies was dismantled. Then came the 12-day war in June 2025. Israel struck Iran's nuclear facilities directly. The US joined with airstrikes. A fragile ceasefire held, but the damage was done. Iran was weakened, humiliated, and furious. In January 2026, massive protests erupted inside Iran, the biggest since the Islamic Revolution. The regime responded by killing thousands of its own citizens. The economy was collapsing under sanctions. The military was degraded. Iran was cornered, and cornered nations do desperate things. Negotiations in February failed. President Trump gave Iran a 10-day deadline. Iran didn't meet it, and on the last day of February, the bombs started falling. Now, before we dive into where this goes next, and trust me, it gets much darker, hit subscribe right now. This is real, this is happening, and we're going to keep breaking it down every single week. Turn on notifications, let's keep going. So what's happening right now? As of this moment, the situation is catastrophic. Over 1,300 people in Iran have been killed. Schools, hospitals, residential neighborhoods hit. Iran's navy has been destroyed. Its air force is gone. Telecommunications across the country have been crippled. The Pentagon claims near-complete air superiority over Iranian skies. But Iran is not surrendering. It's retaliating with wave after wave of missiles and drones. Over 23 waves of strikes have been launched toward Israel and US allied nations across the Gulf. Tel Aviv has been hit. Dubai has intercepted missiles overhead. Qatar's main gas facilities were struck, causing them to halt all gas production. Oil prices have surged. Global markets are in freefall. Hezbollah has entered the fight from Lebanon. Israel has responded by ordering evacuations and bombing Beirut again. Nearly 300 people killed in Lebanon in just days. Israel has authorized a ground invasion of Lebanon. Azerbaijan is deploying troops to its border with Iran. Russia is reportedly providing Iran with targeting intelligence to strike US military positions. This is no longer a conflict between two countries. The entire Middle East is on fire, and the flames are spreading. Here's a question for you. Drop it in the comments. Do you think this can still be stopped, or have we already crossed the point of no return? Let us know. Now let's talk about the nightmare scenario, the one that keeps military strategists awake at 3 in the morning. What if Russia steps in? Right now, Russia is quietly helping Iran. Intelligence sharing, satellite data, targeting information for US military positions. But what if quiet help becomes loud help? What if Russia decides that an American-Israeli victory over Iran threatens its own influence in the region? What if Russian warships enter the Persian Gulf? What if Russian air defense systems start shooting down American jets? Suddenly you don't have a regional war. You have a direct confrontation between the world's two largest nuclear powers, and the rules of that game are horrifyingly simple. One miscalculation, one downed plane, one dead soldier from the wrong country, and the escalation ladder goes from missiles to nukes faster than anyone can stop it. Now add China. Beijing has deep economic ties with Iran. It buys Iranian oil, it has invested billions in Iranian infrastructure. A collapsed Iran means a collapsed investment. And more importantly, if the US successfully achieves regime change in Iran, China loses a critical strategic partner in the Middle East. China has already been watching Taiwan, building its navy, positioning itself for a future confrontation with America. What if China looks at the US, stretched thin across the Middle East, and sees an opportunity? What if, while every American aircraft carrier is parked in the Persian Gulf, China makes its move on Taiwan? Now you have three theatres of war: Middle East, Europe, the Pacific. Three nuclear powers in direct or indirect conflict. That's not a regional crisis anymore. That's World War III. And the economic devastation wouldn't wait for the bombs. It's already started. Iran has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil passes through that narrow waterway every single day. Close it and oil prices don't just rise, they explode. Gas prices double overnight, then triple. Every product that requires shipping, which is everything, becomes dramatically more expensive. Inflation spikes globally. Economies that were already fragile begin to crack. Global aviation is already disrupted. Hundreds of thousands of travellers are stranded. Supply chains that were barely recovering from the pandemic face a new collapse. Food prices climb as fuel costs spike. The poorest nations on Earth, the ones that did nothing to cause this war, suffer the most. They always do. And the human cost? It's beyond numbers. Families in Tehran hiding in basements as bombs fall on their neighbourhoods. Children in Israel running to shelters as sirens scream overhead. Soldiers on both sides who didn't choose this fight. Refugees flooding borders with nowhere to go. An entire generation across the Middle East growing up knowing nothing but war. This isn't a statistic. These are real people. Right now, today. So what stops it? Can anything stop it? History says yes, but history also says the cost of stopping it is always higher than the cost of preventing it. Every great war in human history could have been avoided. Every single one. But pride, fear, miscalculation, and the belief that the other side would back down first pushed humanity past the point of no return. The world stood at the edge before. The Cuban Missile Crisis, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Moments where one decision, one phone call, one order, one breath of restraint separated civilization from catastrophe. We're standing at that edge again, right now, this week. And the people making the decisions aren't characters in a history book. They're real leaders with real egos making real choices that will echo for generations. The question isn't whether we've seen this before. We have. The question is whether we've learned anything since the last time. And that is the real what if. If this video opened your eyes, smash that like button right now. Share it with everyone you know. Not for views, not for algorithms, because people need to understand what's happening. Subscribe, hit the bell, and stay with us as we continue covering the most important events unfolding on this planet. Now click right here where we break down what would happen if nuclear weapons were actually used in this conflict. It's the video nobody wants to watch, but everyone needs to. See you in the next one.